Welcome to the latest episode of Harmonious World. We're well into season 22 now and over 300 episodes, which is quite extraordinary. I'm delighted for this episode to be joined by pianist and composer Erik Deutsch. His album, This Was Then, is out now with his New York City sextet. I'm going to ask him questions about his Mexico band and he's with the Black Crowes, and he's got a phenomenal career going on, so it'll be really interesting to talk to him. What you're listening to now is Saddest Day in Paradise. But I hope you enjoy listening to my conversation with Erik Deutsch. Hey. This Was Then. I really love it, Erik. It's a really good piece of work.
And you're a saxophonist, so
yes.
So yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
When did you record This Was Then?
I recorded it last year. I think it was March and May, or February and May, and it was in New York City. I was working with the Black Crowes, the rock band that I work with, and we were in town to do Jimmy Fallon in February, and I saw that we had the weekend off. Like, we were arriving on Wednesday or Thursday and leaving and doing Fallon on Monday, and for some reason Saturday and Sunday were off, and I thought, man, maybe we should get in there and record. And I think the record was probably almost ready, but scheduling the session gave me a little push to finish the music, and we had a great weekend. But then there was one song that I thought could be changed stylistically, and I also realized I needed another song. So I guess I totally wasn't fully prepared for the album, but I saw the opportunity and thought, let's go, and that's why I went back in May and did another day to finish up the body of the work. Yeah.
But isn't that sometimes the case, that when you're not ready for something, you just have to do it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's how I think of it. I just think that making albums, and putting out your documenting your work and releasing to the world is really important. I've always thought like that. So I always just find a way to do it. And I get a little uncomfortable if it's been too long since the last release, Fortunately, I think I'm pretty consistent every 2 to 3 years with a record now for 20 years or something. So,
yeah.
But the thing is that I saw the opportunity, and I realized I was going to be on tour the rest of the year, because with the Crowes we had a new record, and I thought, this is the moment, because it takes about a year to get the thing out after I record it, in my experience.
Yeah.
About a year to finish it up and edit it. And this record, I did a lot of overdubs with the keyboards, which was cool, but it just takes a little time, And I'm not obsessed with my own music, to tell you the truth. Like I don't know, most artists, I guess, are more like, I don't love to listen to it right away. I don't, go crazy when the mixes come back. It takes me some time to find the space. There's a lot of music in my life, and I really, a lot of my focus is on my own original stuff, and this band particularly, because I have different projects, but it's not like I get it back and I'm like immediately obsessing, and it might have taken me a month or so or a little more to get down and be like, okay, I got to do keyboards and get that done, and so it takes time.
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. It's something like this. I can see that it is a labor of love, really, isn't it? It feels like.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I that's the case of all personal art, no?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, so talk to me about the guys that you've got. You've got Tony Mason on drums, Jeff Hill on bass, Abby Bortnick on drums, and Mike McGuinness. Love Mike McGuinness's work.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, these are old friends of mine. It's actually It's actually a special situation because this band has been a band for like a decade. And then Jeff and Tony and I were looking at closer to 15 or 20 years, and Avi kind of too. It's changed a little bit. Like there's been moments when things changed, right?
Right.
Jeff and Tony have been on my last. Well, okay, Jeff got really busy and kind of missed a couple albums, but more or less for 15, 20 years they've been on almost everything. Like the
Right.
last 7 records. Tony on everything. Mike and McGinnis and Brian Dry, I met them in 1999 through my piano teacher Art Landy before I even moved to New York. So these are like really kind of old collaborators and friends, and that I say it's a special situation because in New York it's kind of hard to keep a band together
Sure.
unless you're friends. And especially since I moved to Mexico 8 years ago, I think it makes it even more unique that the guys are really still dedicated to or willing to dedicate their time to me and the music. And that's super special. Also, I'm just lucky that they happen to be available, when I come to town to play. So we play together once or twice or 3 times a year in New York and then record together. I haven't brought this band out of town in a long time because it became a little financially impossible to move that many guys around. That's unfortunate, but I have brought Tony to Mexico. I brought Mike McGinnis to Mexico. Avi came. So like they'll come in little pieces and that's kind of cool because in Mexico I have another band that is excellent that plays this music when I play my concerts here and I play often here. And so it's kind of cool to bring in Mike like we did for the album release last in July and 2 months ago or three. I mean it's October. Oh my God.
I know.
What the hell? So bringing Mike in and having Mike be the special featured guest with the Mexican band, that's a nice thing. And so we get to do stuff like that. But this band hasn't traveled together in a long time. And when I go to record the last couple records, I was living here, but I thought, man, it's hard to not record with this band. It's such a special thing. And
Yeah.
I figure to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 records in a row with these guys, whatever it is, it's kind of special, and it's nice to keep that going. And I'm able to go to the recording session. I think this time I barely sent them anything. I sent them the charts and some piano demos, but I'd honestly be surprised if those guys even looked. Well, I mean, some more than others, but they probably don't.
Yeah.
They don't look that hard because they don't need to. Because we go to the studio. We have 2 days. I say, okay, here's the song. We play it for an hour, 2 hours, and we get it. And
Yeah.
then we do the next one, and we do 4 in a day, and we're done.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you how much of it is composed in how much you've actually written and how much of it is improvised. And I guess it varies, does it?
Well, I mean, I think that, I write the songs and the chords. I write the main melodies, some of the bass lines. I always have ideas for drums, but you leave it up to the professionals.
Right. I mean, that's always my argument. It's like they know what they're doing, so let them do what works with your.
I don't pretend that I know how to make better guitar parts or drum parts or bass parts than these guys, right?
No.
The best thing, and you can relate to this, the best thing for me is I decided to stop writing horn parts a long time ago. I don't, in terms of like, and I mean, you can relate to it as probably your experience as a horn player with horn parts or without them. So I basically, I used to kind of write more 2-part stuff. I just decided, like, I think the last album to write less and just say, okay, this melody should be doubled.
Right.
What instrument does it sound good on? And
Yeah.
not, like, worry about like, okay, what's the range of the alto flute and like, where, like, I'm just like, okay, here's my melody. I kind of play all the melodies, and I say, okay, I almost play everything. I think it's rare that I'm not playing, and those guys are. Usually they're like kind of doubling with me or something. But I say, okay, what does it sound good on? on this record, we found that the trombone and the alto flute in unison was kind of incredible. We
That's
just
such a,
such a cool
yeah.
sound. So we got that going on a couple things. And then I say, a lot of times with those guys, I say, can we do pads here? So they just create chord stuff.
Right.
And I also encourage them to improvise backgrounds, let's say. You
Okay.
know, I basically write less than I used to. And even kind of interesting with my melodies, I started writing a little less and kind of improvising kind of some of the melodies. Like I know I have a general idea of what I want to do, but I didn't like write it down exactly. And that's been kind of interesting because I leave some of these sections a little open so that when I get to the session, I kind of lock it in. I think it's worked more or less. I don't think the melodies are worse than if I had written them out. They might. I hope they're better.
No, and I think
They're a little more
they,
spontaneous, you know.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I think they've got the personality of the players.
Well, I just started, when you think about like the masters, right? And I started kind of listening a little closer to like Wayne Shorter and Miles Davis and these kind of guys.
Yeah.
I don't think all those melodies are written out. The older I get, the more I realize getting off the page is the natural way to play music. I mean, in Black Crowes or these kind of rock bands or these pop gigs you do, there's no music. You learn the music
Yeah.
by ear. And it's funny, American jazz guys and Europeans I would say the same boat are kind of locked to the page. A lot out of just like necessity because in New York you're playing so many bands you can't memorize everything. But I've had the privilege of traveling around the globe a little bit with this music and especially in the last 5 years or so, playing and I was down in Brazil this year playing. I'm going back next month. These guys don't use music; they memorize everything.
Yeah.
They just show up at the rehearsal just kind of knowing it.
Yeah.
And Argentina in the middle, I'd say. Mexico in the middle. But it's different how it's interesting how different musicians function in that and how they see jazz music versus like learning rock music. Oh, I would never use music for rock, but I'll read the paper for jazz. I think some musicians around the globe think of all music as kind of the same. You just learn it by
Well,
ear.
yeah.
Maybe you look at the charts, but then you learn it. In any case, it's nice just to have some openness to the music. And again, it's nice to let the professionals do what they do. So saying Brian and Mike, hey, do some backgrounds here and letting them arrange it so it sounds good. Flipping parts. What if you take this note? What if I take that note?
Right.
And that's kind of what we got going on here. But
Yeah.
I write the songs, and the songs are written. It's just
Yeah.
they expand with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that must be really nice because if you've got if you've got a group of people playing them in New York and you've got somebody else playing them in Mexico, there must be slight differences because they're different people.
Totally, and it's inspiring and it's fun. So
Yeah.
this year already, I've done Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Denver, New York, Mexico City, Guadalajara. I think I had different bands in all those cities. And I've got coming up another Buenos Aires, Sao Paulo, or Belo Horizonte, another city in Brazil. And then I've got Paris and Frankfurt. And I've
Yeah.
got Oakland, California. And I have different bands at every one. And I don't really do that much rehearsal either. We kind of do sound checks where we just kind of zip through it. So
Yeah.
I think that I feel very fortunate to have the connections to find these folks and these gigs. I feel it's essential in this point in my career because I'm able to travel and play without the burden of bringing people around, which is just challenging.
Yeah.
Mostly financially, but also like energetically, you got to do a lot of work to organize that. I've seen my career as a long game. Like, just stick with it, keep making the good music, keep putting out the records. More and more people will notice, hopefully, and more opportunities will emerge. No.
Yeah.
The other thing about the band in New York is, though, I wanted to say is, I'm lucky because it's a band. we had that trust that I don't have to write as much, and they know what I want more or less. They know me, I know them. There's a mutual trust and musical bond, so it's easy to get in the studio and be like, hey, do some of that. They get it, and
Right.
I fully trust them with everything. So that's part of that luxury of having an actual band.
Yeah. Talk to my listeners a little bit about your background, your musical background. How did you get here?
Well, I started piano when I was a little pup, at 6 years old, and in Nashville, Tennessee, and did the Suzuki method and the classical. But I think because of that Suzuki, or just my whatever whoever I was at that age, I kind of improvised a little bit right away and was obsessed with the radio and rock music. And my dad kind of liked blues and R&B, and so I grew up with a variety of influences. And before long, was kind of jamming and trying to do rock, messing around with keyboards. I love keyboards always since I was a
Yeah.
kid, and that just grew into a jazz thing when I was back in Washington D.C., where I was born. We went to Nashville and then came back. And in high school in Washington, jazz emerged as something that was natural for me because I was good at the piano and I was good at music, but you can't really, studying rock music never made any sense. It was kind of just what you did. And classical music didn't quite do it for me, uh, you know, emotionally. I like it, but I wasn't like in love with playing classical.
Right.
It's just something I did. So finding the jazz thing and what it was in Washington, I started playing jazz and even studying it and playing in the band, and I was good, but could I didn't give a shit. Like I just didn't care about it. It didn't grab me
Yeah.
until I was about 17. And I mean, I've been doing gigs since I was 14, and just kind of doing it. It was just something I did. I didn't really, you know, playing tunes from the real book with my buddies, playing some gigs. They kind of made fun of me because my friends were more into it. Like they had records. I didn't even have any records really, and they would make fun of me a little bit. And then around 16, 17, my junior year in high school, I started going to the clubs in Washington, in DC, and hanging, and that's where I got it.
Yeah.
I think I was gonna say, I guess I started like smoking weed around that, It connected.
Yeah.
It was connected. And I also got into the Grateful Dead, this
Right.
American jam band phenomena, right?
Yeah.
And the improvisation, the group improvisation of that band was a bridge for me to jazz. Sounds a
Yeah.
little cliche, but I think it's actually true. So, anyway, I went to my first Grateful Dead show at RFK Stadium, the gigantic stadium in Washington, in the summer of 1993 when I was 16, and caught a little bug, with that band. And I was like, this is something. And
Yeah.
anyway, just that Washington, the combination of that, the Dead, and just kind of, opening my mind up and going to the clubs was really special. And that led to more gigs when I was 17, 18 in Washington, really cool opportunities at clubs. And then to my college experience in Colorado and Boulder, where immediately it just blew wide open. Because I didn't think I would go to college for music. I stumbled into this little jazz scholarship, and I mean, literally super random that it happened, a gift in my life. And all of a sudden, I was like a jazz piano student at Boulder, and I realized from day one, oh, this is cool. Now I'm a jazz musician in a place where where I can excel, and it was like cool for the first time. High school was
Right.
about sports and parties, and it was different, you know. And
Yeah.
that era in America, it wasn't so cool to be a musician, and I don't know, it wasn't like artsy. The high school, it was different. It was eclectic and diverse in an incredible way, being the Washington D.C. world of international melting pot thing, going on. But
Yeah.
it was different. So it gradually, I always had music as kind of my side personality. And then all of a sudden, bam, I was like, oh, this can be more of me, you know?
Right.
And then
Right.
from then on, it was just boom.
One of the reasons I wanted to talk to you is this whole kind of thing about you being in the Black Crows and then doing this jazz stuff. It's like, I love that. I love the fact that I bet the two, feed into each other.
Yeah, for sure. And I've done a lot of these rock and pop gigs. Not a lot. Well, yeah, a lot. Probably compared to most people. Compared to some of my buddies in New York, maybe not that much, or LA, But
Yeah.
um, I've been on tour buses, for basically for 15 years doing stuff
Yeah.
and with different groups. And for me, it always feeds into one another. It's not super separate, but I'm also, my bandmates laugh at me because I do so many gigs. Like, we'll go on tour for like 3 months, and they'll be like, man, I'm tired, ready to go home. And I'm like, yeah, I got 3 gigs this weekend in Mexico. They're like, that's why, some of them can't understand it. But I think that even though occasionally I run myself a little ragged energetically, I think that it's important for me to keep doing different things. And
Yeah.
it makes me really happy.
I hear that. I hear that totally.
Plus, you got to work,
Oh, yeah.
Got to pay the bills.
Fantastic. It's a real pleasure to talk to you. I love this album, and it's really great to actually talk to you about how it came about and everything. It's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Hillary. It's very nice to meet you. I appreciate you hosting.
Thank you for joining me for that episode of Harmonious World. And what you're listening to now is Pretty Pigeon from Erik Deutsch's album, This Was Then. Please do rate, review, share this episode, and then listen to some others, because I've got some amazing people that I've interviewed. But thank you for joining me once more for Harmonious World. Thank you for listening to the latest episode of Harmonious World. My name is Hillary Seabrook, and it's a great delight to bring this series of discussions with musicians and composers and writers and all sorts of people to you. Obviously, there's no point in having a podcast if people aren't listening, and I'm very grateful to my listeners for doing so. Thanks also to Joe English for composing and performing this new theme tune. So wherever you get your podcast, you can leave a review. You can share this with your friends and family, either as a link or on social media and that sort of thing. I'd be really grateful for that. Don't forget that you can subscribe now. There's a link wherever you get your podcasts. So have a great week, and please remember why I started this, which is just to try and make the world a little more harmonious. Thanks for listening to Harmonious World.